Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. And pretty big engulfing bar there, but we are still in an uptrend. So we are above the moving averages here, and we're in an uptrend. So I'm still looking for areas what I need to pay attention to, and this is the first one we need to pay attention to. See, there's a swing high. We found support there, then we closed below it, then we broke above it. So that area would need to be tested and put in the next level, which is pretty much the neckline again of the head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. So that's another area. Also the 155 EMA, and that's at 13,457. Okay, so that's kind of the structure that we can see at the moment. Not so sure I want to be even too concerned about that yet, but if you look at the weekly, it's a good rejection of the 155, big inside bar forming. Weekly's not over yet. So could be setting up for another leg down. That's one way of looking at this on the weekly, looking for another leg down, or alternatively to start looking for forming a higher low from this double bottom here. That's on the weekly. On the daily, we also have a big engulfing bar that took out 3 days. We are above the moving averages, but we're in between the moving averages, in between the 155 and the faster moving averages, sorry, with the oscillators crossed over and pointing down. So lots of merit for a big push down brewing here on the DAX. But also there is, if you start looking at the lower time frames from the 3 hour, we're in an uptrend. We've got continuation divergence, we've got a grouping of the oscillators. So we've got a lot on the 3 hour now and down, which is indicating upward trend, and we should be going with a trend. So for me at the moment, because we are day trading, we are looking at what the day trend is, and that is up. So we are still looking to run with the trend. Now, this big move down is going to put a bit of fear in a lot of people, but you still need to keep your wits about you. Look to the left. Where is the support? And you can see this area here, rejection. Look at that. We've spent quite a few 3 hours there. We stayed below it quite a bit here last week. Then we shot above it, never came back to test it. And now we're coming back into this area. So this to me is the area we really need to pay attention to. And we're going to just see if we've got micro levels. It's 150 points for me anyway. So an entry here and a stop below this 13,457 gives me a fairly decent entry for a continuation up. So that's what I'm looking for. V reversals are rare, so I would expect a lower high somewhere in this area at least, 13,790 if we're going to fall, and then a move to the downside. So moving on to the hour, and you can see one-way traffic all the way through the European session, and then the US session a little bit further, and then we just started finding our feet here. Broke through quite a few bits of structure. We were looking at this one and we didn't even hesitate, broke straight through that. So there were no setups for a continuation up, and there's also no real setups for shorts on the hour. Let's have a look on the 15 minutes to see if we had something there. But this is the zone that I'll be paying attention to. So 13,578 with a stop below this area. That's kind of what I'm looking for. If we get to the 15 minutes, you can see we started falling. That at the open would have obviously given you a little bit of big engulfing bar. You wanted an entry above it, a stop below it, didn't happen. And then you're looking for your levels, and every level was just taken out properly. And there was no entry at all. There is a bit of a gap here. There's a gap on all the charts at the moment in this area. So, yeah, for me, the 15-minute trend is down, granted. But we need to be trading off the hour. And the hour, we've got a crossover. We are below this. But I still suspect we're going to find some support at the moment. So, let's just go with the trend, the bigger trend. And the bigger trend is the 3 hour at the moment. So that's what needs to keep you sane. That's what's happening. We are trending up. We've had a big move down, granted, but you want to see a lower high here before you start jumping in short. Okay, so that's kind of my view this morning is we're either looking to reject this area, 13,790. If we get a rejection up there and the moving averages stay as they are on the 50 minutes, I would opt for a short up here, stop below the price action, stop above the price action, sorry, and entry below the price action for a move down. And then I would also be looking at a long of 13,578. Again, stop just below the price action, entry just above the price action. Price action I'm looking for is inside bar, engulfing bar, or pin bar. And ladies and gents, it must be on the level. Don't want to see it. It must be something like that, or like that, right? Or like that. That's kind of what I'm looking for. What I don't want to see is this kind of setup, or this kind of setup. If you see that kind of setup, I'm not interested in it. Leave it alone, because that just means it's coming back. You can see it pulled away, came back, and there was a pretty decent setup there on the level for a move up. So that's what we're looking for. Anyway, those are the two levels to pay attention to. Last time, 13,790 and 13,578. And I will catch up with you next week, as I will be traveling tomorrow. I hope that helps, and we'll catch up with you next week. Cheers for now.